You do not seek power or popularity. You simply ask, is the thing right in itself? If it is, you do it no matter the cost.
So I haven't uploaded in a couple weeks, and honestly, my final assignments and mental well-being needed to take precedence over production. Normally I can maintain it all, but I also just felt like I needed a little intermission from this season. So in due time, you will be caught up. But here's the first little chunk of what's happened since. I hope you enjoy.
We're Team
Moon.
We're Team Moon. We're Team Moon, and we're gonna do a cover of the chorus of Ain't No Rest for the Wicked.
She's lying on a warm rock like a lizard.
She's an icon, she's a legend, and she is the moment.
No, you shoot your thing.
I'm good.
You should put up some warning signs.
Yeah. No, my
Filming in
friend
progress.
has told me that I should start carrying around a recording in progress sign, because it's very, and also singing everywhere I go.
And Pete seemed to really enjoy the Tower of London nutcracker you brought him.
Kirk.
A nutcracker is a very useful thing to have around.
Okay. Oh, I'm not tapping my foot.
I was gonna
Can
say,
you do
you're
this?
just gonna. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works.
That's not making a sound. Is that okay?
Oh yeah, no, I'm just looking at it.
Ooh, my ankle hurts though. Never. Let's do it. This is Onyx. She is a bold jumping spider. She was in my room this morning, so I captured her. I'm going to go let her out and feed her and give her some water because she's a little hungry. But yeah, this is today's adventure. Miss Onyx over here. My hair is driving me nuts. Okay, anyway, hi. It's Friday, and I still wanted to get this episode out, despite how much I've filmed this far this week, because, I don't know, for me personally, I feel like there's those little things of dopamine that get you through your week, like a little trickety treat in your raccoon hand, and for me, a lot of that's through media, and at this point, I think these episodes are more for me than anybody else, but there are so many things that, like, I count on the creators that I care about, and yeah, it's just like, it sucks when things don't get released. And yeah, I also didn't get to release my podcast or Wellness Wednesday this week, which we'll get into, so I definitely wanted to make sure that I'm starting off each week with the Divine Diaries on a Sunday. So, little catch up. I edited and uploaded the last episode on Monday when I said I was going to start this one, and I clearly didn't. Also lied about releasing the Wellness Wednesday on Wednesday. It'll probably be next Wednesday. But then I worked on audio production, and I recorded the music Monday, but I didn't air it yet. And turned in my timesheet, which is my work study, which is the podcast. And on Tuesday, I sat on a rock by the ocean with my friend, which was so deeply needed, so deeply nourishing. I really needed to get out of the house and get into nature, and I needed some external accountability for that. So I'm glad I got dragged into the sunlight. So then I kind of went down a rabbit hole on researching more about consciousness and the cosmos, which is my hyperfixation, and I just love adding to my arsenal of research and theory. And so that brings me a lot of joy. Every once in a while, I'll just like completely break out of my routine and responsibilities and then just go down a rabbit hole of that research, and it's very rewarding for me and my brain. So I appreciate that. I also researched this author, and a piece of paper fell off my bed, but apparently there's also something down there because it made a metal noise. Yeah, and I was listening to the Ologies podcast, specifically the one about salugenesis, and I want to make my episode about the science of being happy. Obviously, there are so many elements, and so it would just be scratching the surface, but between that episode and another Ologies episode and having conversations and dealing with my own brain, I got really fascinated with elaborating on the topic. So kind of took notes for that, and I was researching like residencies and work connections and post-grad opportunities and just things that I could do during my breaks and after I graduate, and the possibility of me graduating early, because like technically I could do residencies or internships for credit, but because I have financial aid, I don't know if it will mess up my financial aid, because sometimes they consider like work during a break as one of the following terms instead of like a senior term, you know what I mean? So yeah, I don't really know what the answer is. There's a lot of like, that's an idea, this is the roadblock, this is the procedure, but I don't really know. And then nobody helps you get further, so I gotta figure it out. But like, I'm always figuring it out, you know? I've been figuring it out, so it'll all unfold. But speaking of my mindset, we'll get to that in a second too, because that becomes relevant. But on Wednesday, I rescheduled my voice lesson and a counseling session because I just knew I had Wednesdays and Thursdays are my busy days, even when I cancel half of Wednesday. And I just had a lot of work, and I knew I needed a lot of rest as well. So yeah, those weren't happening. But I did finally upload my Music Monday on Wednesday, as well as my Monday weekly reflections for my music class. Glad I have accommodations, because that was late. And yeah, I went to the coffee house, I did laundry, picked up food, went to the grocery store, kind of resetting and like doing those external self-care things, but also knowing that I wasn't fully back on the bandwagon yet, you know, that I still needed to rest. And I mean, I'm not really one with a routine anyway. I have like things that I do semi-habitually, but because I have ADHD and everything I do requires executive functioning to initiate, I check in with myself a lot in my spoon level, and I gauge like what I need to do and what I want to do and what is best for me to do, all of which I'll probably talk about in that podcast episode. So yeah, a little bit of staying on top of things, taking care of yourself, but like not like, oh, we're, you know, hustle, we're back on it, because I don't think I have ever been, you know, like that's just, resetting isn't like that, you know. So then I edited and uploaded that flower moon ritual that I never made public, because I was trying to get a podcast episode out before that, but I've just decided to try to do it all next week. It just made more sense. And then I had my musicianship class, and we got put into groups to collaborate, and our group was Moon, which it feels very suited to me personally. And then Friday evening, when we kind of semi-performed for the other half of the class what we had been working on with our half of the class, we did that, and we did No Rest for the Wicked, and there were vegan peanut butter cookies, so I was pacified. I mean, I even made the joke there that I was like like having a dog. Like, even once we were done, our teacher was like, "You earned a cookie," and I was like, yes. So goddamn, girl. On Thursday, I did more music producing for like 5 hours because I had a meeting that I needed to talk about things. So, oh my god, why are you red in the face and screaming? Girl, are you good? Go. Whoa. Okay. So bizarre. Okay. so then when I was done with that, I started to prepare to work with that group because we had like 20 more minutes to practice before the singing in the class. So I did that and then went to SWAT, and I was taking a few of my podcast notes in that as well, but I still haven't finished that. But it's not till Tuesday. We're fine. And I'm so great at giving updates. Went to the cafe for lunch with my friend, and I had 2 different meetings. One with my with my my work study lead, and we were talking about all of the things from the residencies to internships to the can I get external funding for the podcast so I can still get paid to do it while school's not in session, all different things. We'll see what unfolds. But then I did have a meet with my independent study teacher about the producing, and that was one of my favorite meetings ever because he was like, how does your brain work? I don't understand, because music is very mathematical and formulaic, and there is a structure, a tempo, and then you elaborate on top of it. But everything I've learned through both dance, despite my dance being hip-hop, which is also very rhythmic, and voice, is very like how things make you feel in a such intangible way, in a like emotional, like ethereal, like often fucking outer space way. Like, how does this note, like we were talking about like how texture invokes emotion, and I used a lot of fancy psychology words in my musicianship class, and I was like, this and blah, blah, blah. That really sold it for you, huh? I elaborated very well. I was just like, this, I don't even remember what I said, it was weeks ago, but yeah, I was like, this invokes this and this articulation, and like I think it's these properties, this element of the music that is what allows this embodiment, and like I was going off, but somebody had like played something for a salon, and I was like, I'm being taken through a visual journey. I'm like, okay, now we're in a jazz club, now I'm in a nice outfit, now it's raining outside, now it's nighttime, now we're in a film noir. Like, I so quickly go down the journey of like, what reality are we creating instead of like, what note are we playing? And so I was making the song backwards, and I had written a melody vocally, and then I was trying to write music to put it to, and I just threw some things down, and then I had to like actually adhere them to the beats and to the measures, and then have an actual steady tempo. And I was like, I don't even know what time signature this is so insane. It's like going from like 3 beats like a waltz to like a 4/4 signature. It's driving me nuts. And he's like, well, if you want to do that, that would be like 4/3. And like I was going, and I was like, I don't think I should do that. And so then he was like, okay, sing this because I want to know like how long you thought. And I was like, I was singing it faster to try to like fit it into this, but I know I always want space so that I can like riff and run as long as I want, and all of these things. And so I was like, I think I just wrote 2 different songs, and I'm trying to like line them up. And I was like, the melody that I wrote for the piano is different than the vocal, and it was just so funny. He was like, your brain works so weird. And it was giving that that interview clip of oh my god, why am I blanking on her name? She's absolutely fucking iconic. Renee Rapp, where they're like, your brain, and she's like, ADHD. 1000%. So that was really validating for me and really hilarious. And he was like, I don't mean anything bad by it. And I was like, no, I feel very seen and validated, because he was like, what is your brain like? I'm like, it's the weirdest place you've ever been, dude. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, that was really fun. So yeah, that was my Thursday. And so today, a list of things that I haven't done. I really just got food, and I realized I really missed doing this. There's a person. Holy fuck, my guy. So the paper that fell there's an event. Oh my god, it was rolled up like a scroll in my mailbox, but that was weeks ago, and now it looks like this in my dorm. But it's for May Day, and it's a Renaissance celebration, and I'm living pretty minimally while I'm like moving all the fucking time. So don't get me wrong, I would love corsets and thigh holsters galore, some chainmail, look fucking banging, love that shit. I don't have that right now. So, also not feeling particularly social, but what else is new? Yeah, this is gonna be a busy weekend. I have some friends speaking at a CUA TEDx event, and yeah, I'm meeting with somebody on Sunday to work on music for my final, and I think there's other things, but I don't know. There's only a lot of end of term things will happen. I love producing these because it feels really authentic to be super artsy and intentional and creative, but I also want them to be the genuine story of all of these elements of my life, of neurodivergence, of independence, of my generation, of being a student, of enjoying science, of being an artist, all these things. And that is a very like chaotic, confusing, I don't know what the F is happening ever vibe. And yeah, I appreciate a lot of vloggers who are very candid about that, and I wanted to pull up the camera even when I'm like, I'm a bed rot now. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do. That's what I have the capacity to do right now, and that's just my truth. So have a good night and enjoy the rest of the weekend with me in this episode.
Please ignore my natural hair. It has a life of its own. But I needed to vocalize this. We need to like rein in advertisements. Like I I don't consent to being subjected to so many of them. Like they're just about tragedy or drugs or horror movies, and I'm just trying to have a silly little time decompressing and regaining my spoon level. Like, what do you mean? I'm trying to cultivate my consciousness here. What do you mean? I'm triggered, and there's no way I could help anyone from a state of fear or what are we doing? What are we doing? Knock it off. Can we consent to the advertisements we see? What the fuck?
So my school is doing a TEDx thing, and I just added one of my professor's videos from last year to my inspo for the Cozy Coven playlist. But we're gonna go see the 5 speakers this year. Bye.
Inside this place is warm. Outside is
And then we went. It was like the kid that was like, "Have you ever seen it?" And then we went, and then there was like, oh my, I am that kid as an adult. I don't know what I'm saying. Is this property? It's mine now, bitch.
Hey, so for a long time I have had friends, acquaintances, strangers tell me to do ASMR or voiceover work, and I don't know, it just seems like, I mean, voiceover work I feel like it is a little bit more overlapping with some of the things that I've done, but ASMR seems so vulnerable and intimate. But when I had brought it up to my friends that didn't recommend it, their faces lit up like, oh my god, exactly, that's perfect for you. So I thought I'd give it a go. I definitely get a lot of comments, especially when people like enter a space of mine, such as my dorm here, that I am really good at cultivating an atmosphere. I think you can tell by the Divine Diaries that like I like to romanticize my life, be very intentional about how I spend my time, And yeah, I was told once that I give very Pisces mutable, which is my sun sign, but I am very intentional about the calmness and the atmosphere that I cultivate just for my own mental health and well-being. So I guess that's something I'm gonna try to share. I have been feeling really tired and under the weather, hence the fact that I haven't really been on it with content for the last week, and why I haven't filmed much in the last 2 weeks for the Divine Diaries, but a more detailed update on that to come. I'm going to shoot this tonight and we'll see how it goes, and yeah, I'll update you guys on the rest later. Good night. Too breathy. Needs rest.
And also,
Yeah.
Try singing! Oh my god! I'm so happy!
Oh my god.
But now take the H's out because we don't need them. So it's stick your tongue out of your mouth. Your tongue out. Yeah, watch yourself. Tongue is a shockingly strong muscle. Like it's constantly being used every single day.
Yeah.
Right? I am snatched.
Yes. They say my system is overloaded. Hello. I haven't really been filming or updating because, I don't know, the last 2 weeks had just become a lot. We're in week 8 of 10, so my work increased. And just like bills and adult legal responsibilities and long distance familial happenings, but also not close enough to be a place that I could go for break. I'm trying not to be homeless for 13 weeks, and I figured out 2 of those 13 weeks thus far. And also trying to find work when I will most likely have to be traveling, so there is no guarantee of a singular in-person job, and still doing a lot of work that I am not compensated for in several different arenas. Also not getting my paycheck from 3 and 4 weeks ago, I believe it is, until either next week or the week after. And on top of all of that, just allergies and hormones and being overworked. And when you're neurodivergent, I was saying to my friends, you know that example people give of like your brain like a computer, and like neurotypical people can close tabs when they open a new obligation, but for us it's like having all of the tabs open and just like what you're focused on top. Yeah, I felt like I had so many tabs open because of all of that I was trying to force sleep, and I couldn't sleep till like 4 or 5 a.m. and I was just having a headache every day. It's really funny because the show that I am watching, it's paused on the Tylenol ad, which has been my friend in the last like week and a half. And then yeah, just all of it compounding of like not sleeping and stress symptoms, and also I'm doing all this like vocal work, and I've talked about the muscle armor and that tension, but with the allergies and the stress, there was this like, I hold so much tension in my neck, and my lymph nodes were getting swollen, and it was just a time. So yeah, I honestly just needed to rest. My brain needed to do that ridiculous spinning wheel frozen thing for several days, and now we have responsibility, so we have to start no matter how ready we feel. So this morning I had my vocal lesson and rescheduled for the one that I missed, and then I did a cover because I have been late on my last 2 Monday reflections for my musicianship class just because of all of this. Luckily, I have accommodations, and I've been really on top of everything thus far. But yeah, I sang for that, picked up food, like dropped stuff off, picked up mail, like all that sort of stuff. Came back, ate, freshened up, changed my outfit. This is the same day as the last couple of clips you watched, actually just hours later. And because I have changed, I think that I'm going to try to do another cover, even though my voice is still pretty hoarse, just to get a couple under my belt, because I haven't been working in a while. I think I need a little bit more of a mental break before getting back to audio production, but I have a meeting about it tomorrow afternoon and a couple of appointments throughout the day tomorrow, so I definitely have to make time for that, but probably later today because it's only like 3:30 and I believe we're gonna do a witchcraft meet in an hour, and then I have the musicianship lab at like 6 something. So yeah, that is the formal update of why this episode is with a impromptu intermission of not posting last week, and why it's so chaotic and disorganized and all over the place, because it's reflective of my internal world apparently. So one thing that has been coming back up for me recently is I've had so much anxiety about summer break, and it's having me think about last winter break, which you have seen in the Yuletide countdown special, and it was the most chaotic thing. I spent it in like 5 different states, and it was sort of not planned and chaotic and out of necessity, but I had realized that the only intention that I had set for that break was to see all of my friends and to have a snowy New England holiday. And I had other intentions or other desires, but they were intentions that I had set because I wasn't ready to believe that it was possible for me. So with that, I only had those intentions, but without being a little bit more clear on the how and why, which is not always our responsibility when bringing things in. Like we set our intention and we take our aligned action, and we're not supposed to know every variable because sometimes it works out better than we could have planned. But in that particular circumstance, the path of least resistance was still chaotic and kind of difficult to process because the cards that I've been dealt to begin with, the foundation that was already laid, was not great. So, yeah, and it's funny that like it all like worked, like what I asked for. Like I even got to see my one best friend that's in a state really far from New England, but like the other people and circumstances I had to endure because of that was just not preferred. So in that mindset, I've thought a lot about this break, and the thing is, for me, I am trying to learn to feel deserving, and like it's just been hard for me to relax and surrender and believe that I'm deserving of people caring for me without feeling like a burden. And it's it's a weird juxtaposition because it's hard to experience the physical manifestation of things unless you embody the energy of the individual who is a match to that circumstance. But if it's also the opposite of everything you've ever known, like to actually receive, to allow, when all I've known is fighting tooth and nail for my own survival, and then also feeling so guilty for being a person with needs, and in all of that just wanting to, like, I know my friends and their family are so deeply loving and so over the moon to spend time with me and get to know me and celebrate life with me, but I don't want it to be obligatory. And yeah, I just like the idea of like actually being chosen the way that like I choose these people and love them unconditionally. Just the perpetual having needs being an obligation and a burden is like being human, God forbid. Yeah, it's been hard to process. So I don't know, thinking about break and knowing what I want, but also just actually trying to be receptive to it for the first time in my life and not like hold the energy of resistance in doubt or fear or shame for showing up the way that I have spent all of this time working to be. It's also the first time in my life that I've ever really like chosen myself or asked for things for myself, even through all of the healing and the hard choices that I made and the things I'd had to sacrifice. It was all for the pursuit of being healed and having the capacity and being worthy of the types of connections that I always desired. And the focus was never really on whether or not I deserved that. Or, well, it was in the sense that I believed I didn't, but like, I don't know. The focus was never on like how I felt or what I wanted, really just to be cared for. Okay, that was cute and I'm better now.
What the fuck?
Should stop squishing my diaphragm, maybe just a little.
Sounds good with the melody.
I don't see what's on my mind.
Oh, it sounds amazing. Okay, good. Okay.
Sounds amazing, guys.
1, 2, 3, 4. It's the same time signature.
I know, but never mind. Never mind. I don't say what's on my mind quite as much as you'd like me to. Ooh, wait, totally forgot the lyrics. My bad. Need to get close enough to read them. This is how blind I am. I'm wearing contacts and I can't read from here. Okay. I'll just like awkwardly do this.
Wrong chord.
No, it's the third one.
That was the second one.
What? I'm gonna fight you. You like me too?
That was still the wrong chord.
What?
That was the first one.
I'm gonna throw myself out the window. Me too. What? Fuck me. Absolutely fuck.
No, I just forgot the last chord. Okay.
Instrumental in conducting research showing that neurons in the brain fire actively during REM sleep, with the exception of nerve cells involved with the transmitter chemicals serotonin and norepinephrine.
You can feel it, yeah.
I'm like not
Fair,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm like expansive. You're getting your breaths. Now see if you can think of like suspending your diaphragm. It's a little bit of muscle isolation. So if you think of like you take your breath in, everything expands, and then like you're tucking kind of your lower abdominal muscles, but this stays extended and open until you like really need to, instead of it just going, you know what I mean? So you get kind of a steadier stream of air.
Oh god, okay.
And he moved and the laptop like slid right into my face.
I've done that. It's scary.
And I'm like, ow. Now I have extra bruises.
I don't need help with that either. I'm very clumsy.
Like, I already have so many mystery bruises.
Yeah.
Just because. Like, maybe, like, I've got to be, like, looking nice. Let's not bruise here.
Yeah.
I'm like, so I'm just thinking about, like, back to our first lesson to now, and, like I can hear you. You don't look like I've just killed your dog. Like, it's like, it warms my heart. Now I'm going to be picky. So it's going to feel weird because the V especially is going to make your lips tickle. Let's do... So, you can... whether or not there's going to be a glottal stop at the beginning of your vowel.
You're like, I'll know.
I'll know. So you want to try not to throw in the diphthong of A, yeah, it just that nice pure vowel. Good. Keep your throat open. Get out of here. Cool. You got it.
Guitar guy.
Yeah. I think it's in a minor key though.
Can I be close to you? Ooh, I flattened that vowel.
It's okay. Yeah, try it in, instead of doing it in D flat, just try bumping it up to like F major. Yeah?
What is the first line in?
Do you think he's going to be able to?
I hope so. I asked. I sent him a message because we're supposed to meet at like 3.
So it's just taking it up a major third.
Okay.
Fill my head with you. You do have those notes. Taking up and forward and keep your throat open. Right into the front of your face. Don't change the shape inside your mouth. Just kind of feel like tilting everything forward. In the morning when I wake up, wake, and the sun is coming through.
Dropping out the ooh.
Huh?
That's the ooh that I'm like, ooh. It gets,
Yep, you gotta think really forward. Yeah.
I feel like it almost takes more air too to keep that.
It takes more support.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because something a little different. And you feel, oh no, you were right. And help a girl out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So just like advocate for yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't let him veto something just because it's not the style he prefers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is hard, and I'm not saying to be like rude or anything, but just like explain to him what it means for you as a singer. Like, if this is, I am performing this as part of my final, and as a vocalist, and so it's got to be a song that actually like suits my voice.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Right. So yeah, advocate for yourself.
Yeah.
Not that he had bad intentions, but I think sometimes too, like, instrumentalists might not quite understand like how it works as a vocalist. Like, just because I can sing it doesn't mean it's appropriate for my voice, or it's actually like showcasing me in my best light. So,
exactly. And I mean, like
if it was just for him,
yeah.
if this was like his thing and he like, it's a guitar thing, like, then it doesn't really matter as much.
Yeah.
Because
it's a damn cold night, trying to figure out this life.
Want that recorded. Just you going, Harry Potter. I'll do that for you anytime. Thank you. That's how I'm gonna wake you up for the first 2 weeks of break. I'm gonna go, Ronald Weasley! Yeah, like 5 a.m. It'll be great.
Like a squeaking happening.
In the guitar?
Yeah. You hear?
Oh yeah, that's me taking my finger off.
Oh my god, I heard that? That's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, it was like when you do this, only by accident.
Yeah. Like, is it brushing the bottom string? Is that what's happening?
It's me picking the string and me taking my finger off are not synced. If they were synced, it would sound like, but it sounds like a little bit like.
Interesting. It reminds me of how I was saying that I felt like because my voice was hoarse, there was like, you know how we were talking about overtones? There was like an overtone of hoarseness that I felt like only I could hear, but it was adding gravel to like every note. And it was really fascinating, yeah.
Okay, sorry.
No, you're good. So, you said this is in D sharp minor currently. So what would be up a third? What would that sound like?
This is the original?
Yeah.
Going up a third would bring me here, and that's really uncomfortable for me.
Yeah, that's fair. Can we...
Yes, but it would be easier to go down and have you sing an octave up. That's possible.
But that was the problem, because the octave that he sings at, I can sing all of those notes, but the lower notes start to lose resonance, and then if I go all the way an octave up, I can also sing all of those notes, but the higher gets like tight. I mean, like, it would be easier as a belt, but because it's like softer and indie, and I'm anxious, I'll start to like close it out too soon with my throat, and then like instead of supporting it.
Okay.
So
If we do it here, if we do it open, that's the same key as that Ariana Grande song.
Which
We
one?
did it.
Leave Me Lonely?
Yeah.
So what would that be for me? That would be in the morning when I wake. No, that's still what it is. Shall I try to get it down? Oh, you fill my head with pieces of a song I can't get out. Can I? No, it's too early.
No, it's not.
It isn't? Oh, okay, right after. Cool.
Yeah. Want to try the chorus again?
Yeah.
Actually, do you want to go from the verse before the chorus?
And you fill my head with you? Sure.
Yeah. So you start.
And you fill my head with you.
And then it's,
Can I?
and
Yeah,
then
right
it's-
in. Yeah. Okay. Can I be
No,
close?
so it's. On that beat.
Yeah, okay. Can I be close to you? Ooh, ooh. Can I be close to you? Ooh, ooh. Take you to a moment where the fields are painted gold and the trees are filled with memories of the feelings never told. When the evening pulls the sun down and the day is almost through and the whole world it is sleeping, but my world is you. Can I be close to you? Ooh, ooh. That.
Do you think?
Was that the end of the philosophical
No,
question?
no.
Do I think? Existential crisis right now. Do I even think?
Yeah.
I'm in college. Do I think?
No. Do you think that if you, at your age right now,
Yeah.
went into a coma and then forgot everything that you liked to do,
Mhm.
and you were forced to make new hobbies,
Mhm.
do you think that you would do you think that you would still do you think you would find your way back to the same hobbies?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah. Well, because okay, I think performing and creating in general, maybe not exactly like video producing, because I think that was a product of my life circumstances, what brought me to that, but I think writing, singing, definitely performing, and creating of some kind, like especially like producing and conceptualizing, or even my love of science, like I think I would naturally come back to all of that, because I think it was much more nature than nurture. I think I was very much like, my brain is wired to think like this, and although in a lot of aspects my life circumstances have helped me have a different perspective on things, they also could have stopped me or kept me from doing what I loved hundreds of times, and yet I still very stubbornly was like, one day I'm going to come back to this. And even what we were talking about like identifying too much with music and how like you had to put it away and like not make it your whole life and have it consume you, I had to put it away on my like healing journey, and I put down a lot of work. Like, I was still singing and dancing every day, but I wasn't collaborating, I wasn't learning new things, I wasn't performing. And it still was such a core part of my identity, which I think is what ingrained even more fear and social anxiety in me, or like performance anxiety, is because I identified with it, but I wasn't actively getting better because I needed to work on other things. And so everything I cared about took a back burner, but therefore so did my whole identity and like everything I cared about and who I was, and aspects of my personality even faded away without the things that I loved. So yeah, I think that I'm very conscious of like how I spend my time and what actually brings me joy. And so I think it's very intrinsically who I am. And even if I forgot everything that made me who I was, I would find myself in a very similar place. Because yeah, no matter how much life changes, sometimes the how or the why or the like aspects or elements that allow something to manifest have changed for me. But who I am and what I like have stayed pretty consistent my whole life. And even like I've known what I've wanted to do since I was like 3 years old. So it's just taken different forms.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. And so I always got that question that like, what's your plan B if you couldn't do what you wanted to do? What else would you do? And I'm like, in some aspect, I'm going to be performing, creating, and like writing about like science and consciousness my entire life. I'm like, I don't care which one pays. I don't care how I do it. Honestly, I want it to change a lot because I don't really do well with stagnancy. So I like the idea of traveling or being challenged in different ways or having different projects that have deadlines.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would always be doing those things.
Yeah, cool.
That was such a tangent, but I hope that was the answer you're looking for. What about you? Do you think you would come back to these things?
Maybe.
I mean, I even at this point, like just this year, my vocal teacher was like, do you even like performing? Because it was so hard for me to get back to it. And it costs so much for me, like emotionally and mentally, the vulnerability and the sacrifices I have to make to do the things that I love. But I just love them that much that it is worth it. And that's what I've said to my friends about, like, whenever they're like, how do you find like the perfect like career, home, partner thing? Like, everything's gonna be work. It's about the things that are exciting enough and compatible enough that they're worth the work.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. And in our house, I ran into her in the hallway, and she looked almost like I had startled her, but she was like tired. And so I was like, did I startle you? And she goes like, maybe if I was more like cognizant or like alive right now, you might have startled me. And then I had said that I had been startled by a lot of people in the house recently because I'll just like walk around a corner and somebody's right there. And she's like, oh no, is your nervous system okay? Are you regulated? And I go, never. And then she was like, that's a terrible thing to ask. I'm so sorry. Of course you're not. You're Morgan. You're never regulated. She was like, that was such a bitch thing to ask. Of course you're not regulated. And I was like, wow, I love that that's general knowledge.
That's such a bitch thing to say.
No, she was really sweet, and I thought it was funny. But she was like, of course you're not okay. How do you feel about your TED Talk?
It's over. I don't think about it anymore.
Really? Were you thinking about it a lot?
What?
Like, were you thinking about it a lot to the build-up of it?
I was practicing up to 9 times a day. I think
Oh my god, you did excellent, so it worked.
Thanks. Yeah.
Ah, I ran into the tree because it was filming my ice cream. Like, bitch, what? Ah! Girl, zoom. It's not only the people.
There's a dog running outside. He is hyped. He's running in circles. He's living his best life. Good evening. So, as I mentioned in the clip that looked exactly like this one that came right after the intermission that I had from uploading, which is probably 2 or 3 episodes ago now, I took a little break from uploading regularly, hence the intermission. I never stopped filming because I've done this like my whole life, but I didn't do as many updates because I was prioritizing finals and just my mental well-being, and though I normally juggle it all fine, I really wanted to take a break because I want to create things that create value, and I say what I mean and I mean what I say, and I'm passionate about what I do, and if I'm not coming from a genuinely full and excited place, there's nothing I'm going to say or do that would be of benefit to you. So yeah, I took that little break, and in that I got B-roll, as I mentioned, but I don't always film updates, and I thought I'd do a little recap of at least this episode of what some of that B-roll was, or things that happened that I might have missed, and at least we'll have a recap of this episode. So I got coffee with my friend Kelly. I went to this health food quick stop restaurant and a crystal shop with Jillian. Autocorrect changed that to villain. No. I mean, if either of us were gonna, no, I'm kidding. Then I sat on the pier that our pier right on the ocean has come down, so we can go all the way out to it. And so I sat there with a few friends, and then I recorded the songs with Ellie that we had performed for our midterm salon, and then prepped a bit for our final salon that's now in 2 days. Crazy. I got ice cream in town with Jillian, and every ice cream shop here has vegan options, which is so great, but you do have to be particular about which one you go to, because there's like the family-owned one that is a little pricey because it's like homemade, handmade, and it's in a touristy town, but then there's one that's like by the water that has all the taffy and the fudge and the cotton candy, and that one cost us $30 for 2 cones with sprinkles once. So we didn't go to that one. We went to the smaller one, but there's also like 6, and I'm pretty sure almost all of them have at least a few vegan options. But I ended up getting a mix of maple walnut and Oreo espresso, which chef's kiss. I love those flavors, although I'm not a huge fan of nuts in my ice cream, but maple ice cream's good enough to have it. And also, I feel like when you put nuts in ice cream, the moisture makes them taste stale, but I digress. That's a rant. After that, we went and we stargazed on the pier, and the 2 of us are just giggling all the time. So it was really fun, really lovely. We had tea and just kind of sat out there and chatted. I updated some of my notes because I want to catch up with my journaling over break, amongst many other responsibilities that I have. But anyway, today I put producing Stained on the back burner because the approach that I was going at it, trying to do it in a neurotypical, typical producer kind of way, was just not working for me. Things weren't lining up. So I switched to producing Scarlet Room, which I love. I love the concept of it. It's giving, as Ariana once said, early 2000s Hot Topic shopping, evanescence, goth rock. But it's so dramatic, but it's so fun and emotional and vocally acrobatic, and yeah, it was really fun to do. I spent about 3 hours just laying down vocals, and that was after already rehearsing and doing covers. So anyway, I had a clear idea of what I wanted to do, and I'm really happy with what it is so far. And I have several more hours to put into my production independent study, so I'm going to really dive deep into that for the rest of term, and a little bit after. I may have a short informal extension on this, just because I'm going to continue producing the music over the summer, especially because I have a laundry list of things to do, but it still will probably be my most flexible time period for a while. So yeah, I'm definitely going to focus on that. But grade-wise, I really want to get that back and forth from the professor that knows so much about this, and yeah, have like a actual finalized for the album final version to be my final grade. You know what I mean? So I'm excited to add on to that, and I feel like now I have a level playing field, a strong foundation for how I build things, which is backwards. But I definitely also want to work more with musicians, especially ones that know what I'm saying when I say things out of like feeling. And I was watching this interview of oh my god, Tim Burton, and him talking to the composer for, I believe it was Edward Scissorhands, and how he described everything by how it made him feel. And because my studies have always been in performance, and both through dance and voice, I could match pitch and tone and copy a riff or run and like set a tone vocally and emotionally, but actually saying like theory, timing, notes, like what was actually happening, no fucking clue. And so like having a musician that actually knows what I'm going for when I'm just like, here's this vibe, this genre, this subgenre, this era, this one artist, and I was like, oh, I want a guitar run like this artist, but like the vocal run like this artist, and the tone to be in this era, and like this part cinematic but this part like indie, like I'm excited to collaborate with people in the future, and I look forward to those opportunities. But yeah, I then spent quite a bit of time right here for the last couple of hours after making dinner, and also running to a cafe today and the store, and then running into a friend at the store, and all of us walking back. I've been doing post-production on Music Mondays, and I have the next several of those, as well as Wellness Wednesdays, already shot, processed, and scheduled, which is good because I want to keep bulk filming with the time that I have here, because I don't know how flexible my resources to filming will be this summer. But also I want to film as much as I can this summer because next term's going to be super busy. So getting back to what my summer and next bit of my life is going to look like. So I'm going all over the place because this is where I live, and if I can't be here, where am I gonna go? So I am going home with Jillian, and I will spend 2 weeks in Vermont. Then I will head to Massachusetts, get to see Cindy and Dylan, hopefully at the very least them, maybe some more people. And then after about a week, I will spend, I think, like 3 or 4 weeks, most of July, with Heaven, and that's super exciting. I'm also so excited for a comfortable bed. This is the worst bed ever. It's like sleeping on a wire box, like a box spring, like with no mattress, but like even the box spring is like wrapped in a tarp, and then I just put bedding on top. And all of my friends were like, invest in a mattress topper, and I'm like, absolutely not. I'm gonna get rid of it like in a couple years. I'd rather just sleep, you know. Like, I don't know, there's just already so much to move because it gets so cold here. There's so many sweaters and blankets, and every time I have to move, I'm exhausted. So I also do really get excited for moving and travel. even now, being somewhere that I really love and that I'm really content, it's the first time that I have been somewhere that I love. So I still have a lot of excitement for new beginnings and new opportunities. So I do get really excited to move and change things. Also, without having a vehicle on the island and only getting to go to the places that we walk or that we set up trips for, the stagnancy of staying in place is a little much for me, but I've mentioned that many times. Anyway, after July, like the last week of July, first week of August until the first week of September, no idea where I'm going to be. So I have half of summer figured out. That's fun. Still have like 6-7 weeks to figure out, but I've come this far and I've had a few resources to help make at least that much work out already kind of fall into place. So, you know, every time I don't know how I'm going to do something or how I'm going to get to the other side of something, I figure it out and it works out better than I ever could have imagined. And also, in hindsight, I find out that all of the intentions that I set that I actually believe are possible always end up working out. So there's that. Anyway, also to update on my whole ambition to graduate early. See, the thing about that is I am on financial aid. So if you get credits before like, how do I word this? If you get more credits than you're supposed to in your junior year before the end of junior year, then you can have your housing, or you will have your housing and food taken, right? So like, for example, if I were to do an internship or a residency during this summer or next winter for full credit while taking four full credit classes each term, they would count those breaks as junior year terms because you're only allowed so much of a loan in a year. So then, like my last term of junior year, they would say, oh, you've gotten your credits for this year, so you're not getting any more funding, so you can't live here. So where'd I go, right? So what I figured out was if I can plan some sort of internship or residency for next winter break, then I can do a reduced course load because, like I've mentioned before, we have 3 courses a term because they're very intense. So if I do an internship or residency for 3 credits during winter break, then they can technically spread that credit over one of each of the 3 terms, and then I can do a reduced course load and only have to do 2 courses for each of my terms. But I'll have to figure that out this summer because I would have to choose whether or not I'm doing a reduced course load by fall term, because I definitely don't want to choose a reduced course load and then have the internship fall through and then have to catch up on those credits because I did 2 instead of 3, right? But all of that still doesn't help me graduate earlier. It would help me have a much chiller junior year, a little bit less stressful. But so I probably will still go through with that as well. But by the time junior year ends, there will still be the typical 9 credits because there has to be. However, I also figured out I can do 2 internships and technically I think 2 residencies for credit. So I could do some internship or residency winter break, make junior year easier. And then after junior year, I could do another internship or residency for summer break. And then for autumn term, I could do something similar. And then after that, technically people take like the last 3 credits, the last term. Sometimes they do winter term so that they can like leave campus because it's cold here, which I love, but they take those 3 credits to do their senior project. There's also like a senior essay and all of this sort of stuff. But long story short, all of my senior year credits could be done anywhere in the world. I just have to submit the internship, the residency, and the senior project. And those could be my 3 classes. And I could start like right after junior year. And so I could finish that up by like the new year, by like 2027's new year. So anyway, after this very chaotic summer break, where I need to figure out where I'm living for the second half of it, then I need to figure out some sort of residency or internship and where I'm living for winter break, which, as I've mentioned before, I can pretty much design my own or work with anybody. And after that, I can leave or go somewhere if I have the opportunity for spring break as well. But after my junior year, I could do all my credits anywhere as long as I plan it. So, yeah, that currently is kind of the plan. And then I have a couple of interesting post-grad resources and opportunities that I'm very excited to pursue. But I guess that will be a dialogue for another time. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. I love creating these. I love sharing my life with you. And yeah, bye.